Hi folks, and welcome back to the allotment. It is a gorgeous day today, start of a mini heat wave. It's 9 o'clock in the morning and it's almost 20 degrees already. So today I've got a lot of work. I've got my work cut out. I've actually made a list. I don't want to do too much messing around today. I want to stick to the to-do list. And the first thing I want to do, I can see some bad news in the greenhouse. First thing I want to do is just a quick seedling check because I haven't actually been up since Wednesday. So I've been thinking everything would probably be fine, but I don't know if it is. But let me just show you the boot. Yes, it's one of these days. You know it's going to be a big job day when the boot is full. This is mostly homemade compost, actually, from the back garden, just in the little Dalek composters. Got some petrol, because hopefully I'm going to get a petrol mower from an allotment neighbour, and I got the strimmer and all sorts. There's some exciting stuff in the front as well. Now, before I start unloading the car, first we've just... Whoa! Well, that's not right. Look at this. Got a little cosmos flower already. That's not a good sign. They're meant to get much, much bigger than that. I wonder if it's bolting because of the cold or something like that. But yes, how's everything in here? Oh dear. Oh dear. We have some casualties. Sunflowers. Oh no, that's not good. The tomatoes looking okay though. And most of the other seedlings are actually fine. A little bit on these lettuce, but the brassicas are okay. Some new germination on those brassicas. Here's a little tray of stuff for potting on. That's not great. That's very, very light. So we'll get those watered. But first, let's unload the car because I'm in people's way. Not 100% sure where this lot is going to go just yet. Just chuck it up the end where there's some beds that could definitely do with a bit of filling. Okay, so everything moved. I cannot believe how warm it is today. And it's been one of those... I've been really missing the allotment. I came up Wednesday super quickly just to check on everything. And it's been ages, just been really busy. And it's just one of those days where it is so, so nice to be here. Let me show you the exciting stuff that was in front of the car. You might be able to see it in the background. Now, this is very unlike me, but I have actually brought some plants. I've bought some plants. I've got a grafted aubergine and 2 grafted sweet peppers. The variety of these is Celerio. Celerio? Yeah, that looks about right. Never heard of these, but I've never actually tried a grafted plant. Can you see the rootstock on there? Maybe it's that. But basically, I'm blaming this on Tony C. Smith, who has been talking about grafted plants for ages, and these weren't too bad. They were 3 for $12. It's about £4 each. They are only little plants, and that is, I mean, that's quite a lot of money. This is probably not economical, but I was just curious. I was really, really curious. I don't have any aubergines started yet, so I thought it might be nice to at least have one. And I have here as well an order from Grown Local. Loads and loads of seeds in here, a lot of flower seeds, some peas. But the one that is going straight on the to-do list for today, well, we've got some Oregon sugar pod in there. It's a little later than we might like, but we do have some onion sets. And I've always had pretty bad luck with onions. It's so hot in the greenhouse already. And I couldn't get any onions germinated this year, really. I did set out a seed tray, but they just haven't done much. So I probably will plant out those seedlings, but they are pretty pathetic, especially for, what, the end of April? You know, mid-March, mid-April is normally onion set time, so we're on the tail end. But we'll get them in the ground. There's lots of space in the beds, so that's definitely on the to-do list today. But because it's so hot, first thing to do, damage control in here, give everything a water. And then I have a boatload of things to prick out. So we've got some calendula, some cosmos. Oh God, they really do look quite sad. Some zinnias. How's the courgettes looking? Not great. Actually, yeah, we do have a bit more germination on here. So I'll look at these as well and see what's coming up, see if I need to do any more courgettes. And then, should I tell you the to-do list? This is always like really dangerous because I'll probably only get half of it done. But on the to-do list today, the pricking out and potting on, then I want to get my tender beans started, French beans, that kind of thing. It's definitely time for those to get on now. Got some kalima. Haven't planted any squashes yet, and it looks like I might need to do a few more courgettes. Then we've got all those new seeds from Grown Local to go through, and sow a few of those. Then we've got the onion sets to do. This is in no particular order. We've got potatoes as well. Absolutely loads and loads of main crop potatoes still to go in. We do have one bed of potatoes in already. Probably gonna have some spares that I'll give to neighbours here, but these are from Grown Local. Look at the size of these, really, really good quality. And look at this as well. So I mentioned last episode, my neighbour was gonna give me a melon. This is Malaga, and it's rocketing away. He's just had his in his polytunnel outside, unheated, and I couldn't believe that they're going. I don't know if this is a cold tolerant variety, but He offered me a few spares because he had so many, and I said, yes, please. I did say I might kill them. I've never had good luck with melons, but that one hasn't been potted out yet. But down here, I was busy at the end of last episode. I've got a little teepee structure set up, and we've got the melon in the ground in this greenhouse, and it's looking okay. I've just given it a little bit of support, but it should start snaking up and going around this tripod. Just got to keep it really well watered and take care of this one. I've done loads of work in here actually, cultivating and tidying up and getting the soil kind of prepped and ready, but it does need a bit of a feed, either with some manure or like this one, I did just put some in the planting hole. But yeah, really good. Looks really nice out here as well. I didn't show this last episode, but I did a lot of reprofiling of just my lumpy, bumpy paths. And we've got this new bed set up ready for the sunflowers. I want to get some nice sunflowers in here. I think that would be really good, as well as plenty of other bits. Might have a little row of onions. Maybe carrots might be quite nice in here because this is all nicely cultivated. Remains to be seen. Doesn't sound like that much on the to-do list, but it always sounds easier, doesn't it, when you just say the words? But actually getting it done is quite tricky. So I'm going to get to work in the greenhouse. It's going to be too hot to film. I probably need to take clothes off already, to be honest. So you don't want to see that. I'll show you what I've done. Okay, mamma mia. It's that time of year already. It's basically now too hot to be doing stuff like that in the greenhouse in the heat of the sun. It's absolutely roasting. I don't know what the temperature is, but I've just gone in the shed where it's 27 degrees. I've got a thermometer in there and it feels nice and cool in the shed, which gives you an idea how warm it must be in here. I'll show you what I've just done. Lots and lots of potting on, but I'm going to do the beans next. They really need to get sown, and I'm just going to start potting in the shed. I'd never sort of intended it to be a potting shed, but we're going to try it. We're going to see how it works for the first time. It might go horribly wrong, but it might be quite pleasant. But let me show you what I've been up to in the greenhouse. So, oh goodness me, I don't want to be in here anymore. So this is the troublesome tray. I've sown 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cucumbers that haven't come up, and I've just got one that has come up, this Merlin. So out of 9, only one. Actually, there's another cucumber here, so 10. 1 in 10. Something's definitely gone wrong with my cucumbers, which is a real shame. I have to check my seeds and see if I've got any more of those. But if we step back, oh, this is starting to fill up. It's looking nice. This is slightly concerning as well. No germination on the basil. Yeah, this is an entire tray of basil. Not the best seed, not the freshest seed, but I did think we'd have some germination by now. We've got a few of these from the Johnny's seeds, basil, that have come up. So slightly concerning. I might get some fresh basil seed just in case. But I said I was going to show you what I've been doing. So we've got some divided courgettes, the Astia. So I think I do have enough courgettes actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 have germinated. Now if they all grow well, we could be drowning in courgettes. But last few years, for whatever reason, I've really struggled with courgettes. So we'll see. I might do some more. The sunflowers, not bouncing back as quickly as I'd like. They should be okay. I think I'll need to do these tomatoes quite soon. Get these potted on into just little pots. They are looking healthy enough. Quite a lot of these cells have got 2 tomatoes in, so once again I'll be giving away lots of spares to neighbours, maybe my dad. Really nice to see. Up here I have potted up the garden centre chili peppers. They're not chili peppers, they're sweet peppers, and the aubergine. My chili peppers at the front here that I've brought up early, 20th of April, these came into the greenhouse. You can see they're not looking too happy. Those cold nights will do it, even though it's been kind of 6 or 7. It's not even been that cold. Here we have a whole tray now of cosmos and calendula. So we've got two rows of cosmos there and 3 of the playtime calendula mix. So these can go out pretty soon, but they're not quite ready to go out yet. And why have I bothered actually pricking these out instead of just putting them in these cells to start with? I don't normally bother pricking out because it's so much extra work, but what I have been doing this season is doing 5 or 6 rows of seeds in trays, and then because I've been using a lot of old seed and not expecting it to germinate, I think when you've got some dodgy seed, that's when it's a really good idea to do lots of lines in one tray, and then if you actually get germination, then prick it on. Otherwise you could have 10 trays full of, absolutely no germination, just taking up lots of wasted space. So now we have these and they're going to sulk, but after maybe just 2 or 3 weeks, once they're established in these cells, they should be ready to go out. And down here, another tray, we've got 2 lines of zinnias, a line of wallflowers, and then, you can't see this, a little line of flax, which I'm really, really excited about. It is quite a time-consuming thing. It's not my favourite, pricking out. I don't mind potting up and planting out, but pricking out, it is time-consuming. When you've got questionable seed, I think it's just the right thing to do. Here, I've just done a little lobelia tray, so we've got sapphire and crystal palace, I think. I'll put the varieties on here. This is new seed from Grown Local, so I'm hoping this will go quite well. Here are the seeds from Grown Local as well, mostly flowers. We've got some gypsophila, some peach melba nasturtium, absolutely brilliant. Some of this apricotta cosmos, this is really nice, but I haven't got any germinated yet this season. These are the lobelia varieties, Crystal Palace and Sapphire. And then some more Oregon Sugar Pod, Monge 2, absolutely fantastic. We've got some cherry caramel phlox, what a name, what a name. And then we've got a little veranda tomato, which I'm going to get sown now actually. I think this might be really, really good for the vertical planters. I'm going to try and get a little potting set up in the shed. I think it's going to be a little bit of a kind of step down from everything I've got going on in the greenhouse, but we're going to give it a go. It might not work, it might work. This is all my bean seed. Look at this, look at that dedication. Generally, I don't do well with saving seed, but this Kalima last year didn't have a good year, like pretty much everything else. And so a lot of it went over, wasn't that tasty, and it did allow me to harvest those. Kalima is a delicious, what are they called? Dwarf French bean. So I love dwarf varieties because you don't have to faff around supporting them, right? They're just happy to grow up under their own strength, and it's a lovely, sweet green bean. I imagine you probably can use them dried. We don't eat that many dried beans or pulses. I will be doing some borlotti. It's nice to have, but for me, those super sweet, fresh green beans are just like such a treat. I really look forward to the first harvesting of those. Let me get this spare ply out of the way. And then I'm gonna get my little, I guess a bucket. I could bring should I bring the potting thingy in? I know that, by and large, this is a pretty minor thing, but for some reason, this feels like a really big deal. This feels like such a massive deviation from the plans that I had for this shed. It fits perfectly between the struts of the shed. That is, this is starting to get quite exciting. This might become a potting shed. Like I say, I don't know why this feels like such a dramatic revelation to me, but I did just find a few more bits to pot up, and this is making me really nervous. I never painted the worktop in here or got a protective surface on it. I was planning on just getting like an oilcloth, which someone really helpfully commented about. I'd never heard the word oilcloth before in my life. Basically just one of those really robust tablecloths. But in a pinch, I think this will do for now, but this does already feel like it might become the new use for the shed. I always had the idea that I didn't want to get it all full of soil and messy, but I don't know why. That feels a bit silly saying it out loud. You know what I mean? It's a shed. It can get messy. It's fine. Look at that little mystery flower in here. I think it might be a straw flower. But yeah, it wouldn't be difficult to convert this into a little potting area. I've got lots of shelves down by my knees that I could use for storing pots and trays. It's just, I can't believe how much cooler it is in here. The only real downside I can think of having this in here is that there's just a lot more walking between here and the greenhouses, but that's really not a big deal, is it? It's like 10 steps maybe to the greenhouse and back. There is, of course, one other major side effect of this potential change. This potting area could suddenly become a lot of growing space, couldn't it? I was adamant this year that I was going to leave this and not turn it into a home for chilies, because there were way too many last year. It's asking for it, isn't it? It's saying, put some chilies on me, JB. Okay, so peas. I've been busy and I've got some mysteries. I have absolutely no idea what these ones are. If anyone has any idea, please let me know in the comments if you can identify these. I clearly grew them last year, and you would think I would know what they are, but no idea. Wait, are they these? Oh my goodness. What? Oh, they must be these. Yeah, okay. I'm very confused. I don't think you can... What's going on here? So this seed packet, you can see, is barely opened. But somehow, inside, there are full-on seed pods. And these must be self-saved, right? I must have grown these and then slipped them in there, maybe? Absolutely no idea. So, right, okay. No, that's not right, is it? I thought maybe these were what I just showed you, but these are much more round. They're quite different, actually. So, there are 3 varieties I'm going to sow anyway. I'm not going to do the mystery one, because I have no idea what it is. But I do want to do these, which are the dwarf borlotti beans. I think it's coming back to me. I think I did these last year and they had really bad growth. And I probably only got a few pods, which didn't feel like, you know, worth trying to eat or use. So I probably just slipped them back in here. They do look like the ones I've harvested. What? The ones in the pods are different. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to sow these straight out the packet and not the ones I've sowed. So that's one, dwarf borlotti. Then we've got the self-saved Kalima. I do still have the original seed packet, and the idea is this feels so rare because it's from Baker Creek and you can't get them in the UK. I've been trying to be self-sufficient on the seed, and it's really nice to know that it is something I can do. When I need to, I can actually remember to put in the effort, harvest the seeds. Maybe I could label them slightly better, but yes, we've got dwarf borlotti, Kalima, and then this one, the yin yang. These are so good. Oh, these are just stunning. These are the coolest seeds I have ever seen in my life. They are black and white, hence the name yin yang. They are so good. You don't get many in a seed packet. These are really expensive seeds. I paid about £4 or £5 for these last year and they did not go well at all. But this year I got them from Grown Local at a much better price. So hopefully these aren't all going to die immediately like they did last year. Last year I put them out and they just got eaten by slugs, like completely and utterly. They did not even slightly survive. I've never actually had a worse loss than this, just 100% slugged or snailed. It was pretty heartbreaking, if I'm honest. They were a bit of a pig to plant out as well. My preferred method now with the beans is to just do a trench, and then I've got quite big trays I'm going to put them in. These are the 4x7, and then I'm going to do 2 or 3 in each of these. It's all pretty fresh seed, so I'm hoping we'll get really good germination. A bit of kind of multi-sowing, and they seem to do quite well, spaced quite closely together like that. So I'm just going to do 1 tray of each, and then hopefully about, maybe 3 weeks from now, if I remember, I'll do a succession. If I can, I probably won't have enough of the yin yang, but the rest I can do a nice succession of. So when we do get some losses from the slugs and snails, it won't be the end of the world. Right, I've lost, like, what time is it? Somehow I've been up here like 2.5 hours already and I barely made a dent in the to-do list. So I really need to get busy with this. So there we have it, the 3rd tray of French beans just done, very nice. I've done the tomatoes as well, the veranda. I didn't actually check whether or not these were a patio variety, but I think they are. Let's go on the name, clues in the name, right? Surely. Actually not making such bad progress, done quite a lot. The next thing is squashes and courgettes again. Now, cucumbers as well are now on this list, and I've got loads of packets, but what I found with the cucumber seeds is that I've been really, what's the word? Sabotaged myself by putting back a load of seed packets that didn't have any seeds in, which is really annoying. So I've started a new note on my phone, and as soon as I exhaust a seed packet, now I write it on there. I've done that with the yin yang today, so I'm keeping that up to date, which is good. But let's do these squash, see which ones I've got in here to sow. I think this is old. I've just got a bit of bit of a kitchen towel on the side, the shed here. And sure enough, not sure when I brought these to the allotment, but I'm pretty sure this is butternut squash seed that I've saved myself. I always do that just because it's such an easy one to save. So we'll get a few of those on the go today as well. I'm putting all of these beans in the polytunnel in the floating shelf until they germinate because I want to keep them away from the mice. So the squash tray, we've got 3 butternut squash at the front, lots of different varieties of squash. Mixed success on these in the past in terms of both germination and growing. This is a whole lot of squash. Most of these have got 2 in each cell, so if all of this grows, it will be way too much, but better to have too many than too few. We've got some butterbush, some early acorn, some spaghetti squash as well. I've never actually got that to the finish line. Some Marina di Chioggia, something like that. Honey nut squash, once again, never had that. It all looks so good. I did find a packet of Market More cucumbers, which are okay. They're no Carmen, but they do the job. So hopefully we will still have some cucumbers this year. I've done one more Astia courgette because that's done really well in the greenhouse. And then we've got 2 Merlin cucumbers as well. I'm feeling unusually focused today. It's not often that I come up with a proper to-do list and like a bit of I feel like I'm on a mission, and I think it's striking quite a nice balance. I don't feel like I'm in a rush. I just feel quite driven. I'm still absolutely just loving today. The temperature in the shed is much more comfortable. It's such a gorgeous day. The birds are singing, the butterflies are out. So it feels like quite a nice balance today. It's not yet getting to that scary time of year where it all feels like it's a little bit too much, you know, and hopefully if I keep on top of things, we won't get to that point this year. Okay, so we've got the majority of today's sowing done. I am very, very happy. This is looking quite exciting, actually, having this little bit of extra space. I did want to just mention, I've got a feeling I know what's caused the bad germination on this, and I think it's just bad watering, to be honest. It's hard to show you now because I've just watered it, which was silly. But I was just kind of feeling around the top, and this morning I've watered from the bottom. I don't know if you can see that dripping out there. But actually the tops of these were still bone dry, and they were also a little bit green. So you're sort of getting mixed signals, you know, green normally indicates overwatering, algal growth. But I think basically a bit of a beginner's mistake I've made there in not compacting the soil down enough. So when I've been bottom watering, you've not had enough kind of capillary action from the compost pulling moisture up. So I think the actual seed, which is obviously at the top of the pot, hasn't been moist enough to germinate. I think that's probably what's going on there. Could just be coincidence and loads of dodgy seed, but I think that might have been it. So something to watch out for when you're sowing your seeds. Just make sure your soil is nice and compact. It's just looking so nice in here, and we do have a few more gaps on here which will very soon be taken up by those tomatoes, I should imagine. Lots of nice little lettuce seedlings growing really healthy. Look, that is fantastic germination. Fresh seed, good germination on there, really nice. I have moved this tray of basil over here into the full sun and got a propagator on it, so hopefully we will get some basil. I'm really hoping we get some like major basil crops this year. Now the next job, this is one I've been kind of putting off, to be honest, today. I've not been looking forward to it, but the onions. To be fair, growing onions from sets is pretty easy. It's just a case of using this dibber. This is like my favourite thing for doing onion sets. I haven't done them in a little while, so this is nice. Like something's been digging in there. But the important thing with onions is getting a nice straight line. And if you know me, if you've been watching the channel a little while, precision not a skill, I generally, but it is worth it with onions because they are a nightmare to weed around. If they're wiggly and you're trying to hoe around them, very, very easy to damage your crops. So one of those things where it is actually worth getting a line, or I used to have a string line, but I haven't seen that in a long time. I've just seen something really horrible. I think I'll probably just use a board and we'll get those onion sets out. Look at this. Can you see that on these Brigadier cabbages? Absolute aphid infestation. Now I used to think this was cabbage whitefly because they're a very pale aphid, but it's just aphids basically. And on a young plant like that, that is definitely worth. All of the cabbages are covered. You can see they're looking a little bit wilty as well, maybe just from the sun. I might give them a water. We have had a bit of rain, they should be okay, but I wouldn't be surprised if the aphids are upsetting them a little bit. That might be the cause of the wilting there. But yes, let's get stuck into these onions and potatoes. The main reason I've been putting it off is because it's blinking hot. It's getting very, very warm. Although, I think it's cooled down a little bit since this morning. A breeze right on cue, lovely. So, where are they going to go? That's the question. In the 3 beds next to the polytunnel, we've got a bit more space in here. This has got 1 line of potatoes already. I might just put a second line in there. Why not? And then we've got a lovely little salad bed here. This would be really nice to have some spring onions in as well. And then we've actually got a load of volunteer potatoes that have popped up in here. And this gigantic wormwood plant, which is just stupidly large. I don't know whether to keep that or not. Quite good for insects and that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Might leave that bed for now. We've got a few little beetroots in the end. This bed might just be the ticket. This does need topping up. I think what I'll do, I'll fill this with a load of the compost that I brought up today from the Dalek composter in the back garden. So that'll give us a nice, easy kind of surface to plant into for the onions. I did do onions in here before and they weren't that successful, but they didn't get white rot, which is a really good sign. And I think that means I could definitely do another load of onions in here. And I might do a few potatoes in here as well, actually, next to these peas. Do they companion plant well together? I'm not sure. We've got another little volunteer coming up, but you never know what the volunteers are, so not worth relying on them, and we'll get a few potatoes in here as well, I think. Okay, so slight change of plan. I did get this trimmer out. I had brought it up today and it was on the to-do list. I know I said I was going to stay focused and not get distracted today, and I did a pretty good job, but I knew I had to do a time lapse of me planting all the onions, and I just knew the beds would look so untidy, so I thought, hey, before we do that, let's get the plot looking a bit nicer. And then, just after I'd trimmed, it was time to get the petrol mower going, and I realised there was still loads of mess on the communal path from the shed build I've been kind of forgetting about. So I did clear this up a bit, evened it out, just so that in the future you can run a mower down the communal path, because it was quite messy. Took a minute, but we did get it working, and it was a pretty powerful thing, this. Okay, the plot has had a proper good haircut. That neighbour's mower cuts a lot closer than mine. So, the homemade compost, I thought I'd just show you up close. Brought it up in shopping bags because we just didn't have anything else. So I've got an awful lot to shift on here. It won't take long, maybe 1 wheelbarrow full to be honest, but I just thought I'd show you it up close first. Because this is, for whatever reason, just one of the better batches of homemade compost that I've made in a Dalek composter. It's mostly a mixture of food scraps from the kitchen, but also we did buy a garden shredder a little while ago. It's been really good for chopping up like woody stems, things like salvias, you know, tomato stems, all that kind of stuff. And it seems to make quite a nice mixture with the grass clippings from the lawn and lots of kitchen scraps. So quite happy with this. Think it'll be good for the bed. A mistake I made in the past was planting my onions into a bed that had been topped up with manure, but it was a bit too much manure basically, and it was too deep. So I was actually planting the onions into manure basically. I mean, there was good soil under the manure, but the onions had a real tough time actually getting their roots away because, you know, straight manure, even if it's well rotted, very, very rich for a lot of plants. Maybe something like squash you can get away with, but we could just harvest these leeks, get this all loaded up with loads of nice compost, and we'll get some onions in. Ooh, exciting. Oh, and a cloud. Oh, blessed cloud. It's a chunky, chunky leek. Absolutely love growing leeks. I love anything that is low maintenance, so you can just pretty much go from seedling to stick it in the ground, leave it, and it will just give you something incredible. I find potatoes very much the same way. Onions, not so much, but I do always struggle actually harvesting leeks. I should probably get a fork, especially for this one. I don't know why I'm messing around with one of these little dandelion weeders. It goes so deep. Quite tricky in a no-dig bed. They do bring a lot of soil to the surface. It's like you dig around it and it's like, how are you still anchored in the ground? What's holding you in at this point? Go on. Yeah! Look at that. Oh, what a beauty. Smells so good as well. So clean. Oh. cannot believe those leeks. They were stunning. It's definitely a sign that I am slowly improving the soil, I think. Now, it's time to get the onions ready, and if you've been watching my videos closely recently, you'll notice I've just made a massive mistake. You'll see what that is later in the video. Now, of course, this isn't perfect premium compost. This is just from my home Dalek setup, so it's probably going to be loaded with weed seed, and I'm tempted, I think I might, this bit looks a little rough compared to the rest. I might do a nice little manure mulch on here just to preserve that kind of no-dig effect, try and minimise a bit of the weed. I've still got plenty of well-rotted manure kicking around the plot, and this one, I wouldn't say I've been completely strict about no-dig, but it was pretty weed-free. As you saw, there was just a couple coming through, and I think I've kept on top of mulching this with the well-rotted horse manure. So this is great because it was sat in the back garden for quite a while, and bringing it all to the allotment is a bit of a mission. As you can see, I'm doing it in cheap shopping bags. It's quite time consuming, but it makes sense to use it, I think. We don't really have anywhere to use it at home now, so I think having it on the allotment will be nice. But I am a bit concerned about the weeds, especially because, like I say, it can be very, very tricky to weed around onions. Now, layout and spacing can be quite tricky with this stuff, and the temptation is always to overload it. I've certainly done that in the past, but honestly, giving yourself a bit of space for onions, I think, will make life so much easier. So I'm probably just going to do 3 in here, and you could do them kind of horizontal that way, lots of lines, or you could just do 3 vertical. And I think having the space this way make it really easy to just get in here with the hoe, and hopefully it'll give the roots lots of room to spread out as well. This looks quite nice. This compost will definitely be full of nutrients. It's a decent texture. There's a few kind of woody bits, but you know, it's not like we're using it for seedlings or anything like that. It looks quite nice, I think. So, okay, you just watched me weed this bed and load it with lovely, nice compost. As you can see, I'm filming this after I've finished. I've just got Fort Fox on here, and to stop the foxes and birds digging it up, I've just remembered that I've just destroyed all of my parsnips. I had 3 lines of beautifully just germinated parsnip seed in the end there. Tiny, tiny little babies. But we've got one there, that one's a weed. And we got one there, and we got one there. You can just about make out the line where I've done them. I actually can't believe I've done that. That is so dumb. I make a lot of mistakes, but I think the one mistake that I do make consistently, which is just ingrained, it's just the way I do things now, but I do not label things if they've gone out in the bed, and I think maybe if I got some big labels for the beds, it would probably benefit me in the long run, wouldn't it? Oh. Anyway, back to the onion planting. Yes. Stupid. The first 2 lines of red onions are in. This is, what is it? Red Carmen? I think it's something like that with a K. And then I've got Sturon to go in as well. But to be honest, I've just hit that limit. I really think I've just been in the sun too long. So I'm gonna get another line or 2. I'm not sure how many are gonna fit in here of the onions in. And I'm not gonna do the potatoes today. But all things considered, I did make very, very good progress on the to-do list. So I'll say thank you so much for watching. An extra special thank you to all of my Chili Pepper Tier patrons: Tony, Bill, Pam, Mel, Michael, Socks, Dorcas, or Louise, Andre, and Brett. And hopefully I'll see you again in the next one. It's been a while since I've been this tired on the plot. Proper work.